Practical apologetics for a Christian way of life. Contexts for Christian apologetics. Suppose someone were to ask you, what is apologetics good for? How would you respond? You might like to press pause on the video at this stage to have a ponder. American Christian philosopher and apologist William Lane Craig says that apologetics plays a vital role in shaping culture, strengthening believers, and evangelizing unbelievers. You see, everyone has a way of life that is a spirituality. The spirituality is made up of worldview assumptions, the ideas about reality one believes and or acts upon, combined with attitudes that lead to actions. The Christian gospel proclaims that we should embrace a God-centered way of life that brings together our assumptions, attitudes, and actions through faithfulness to Jesus as Lord. Now, people who share assumptions, attitudes, and ways of acting form communities. And the activity of people in community creates a culture that reflects and influences the spirituality of people in that community and in other communities. So Christian community creates Christian culture. That's institutional culture as well as artistic culture. But of course, we live in a world of numerous contradictory spiritualities. And so we all face the question, why follow Jesus? Why be a Christian rather than a Muslim, atheist, agnostic, pagan, Buddhist, Hindu, etc.? Seeking persuasive responses to this question can help our own spiritual walk and is a way to love our neighbors. Apologetics is a spiritual discipline of loving, humble service that aims to help people be persuaded of the merits of a God-centered way of life through faithfulness to Jesus as Lord. Apologetics in this sense is of direct relevance to anyone who'd benefit from help either becoming or remaining thus persuaded. Apologetics is also the name of the theological discipline that's concerned with establishing and passing on theoretical and practical best practice in the spiritual discipline of apologetics. Apologetics in this sense is of indirect relevance to anyone who'd benefit from help either becoming or remaining thus persuaded of the Christian way of life. So apologetics is for Christians as well as for non-Christians. As Christian philosopher Paul Copan writes, there is a kind of internal dialogue between one's believing self and unbelieving self. The wrong response to doubting and questioning youth is to keep them in a Christian bubble or simply to dismiss their questions and exhort them to pray harder, read the Bible, or just believe. The right response is to teach them to doubt wisely. Christian leaders and parents should give the young people entrusted to them ample room to grapple with doubts. The next generation should receive direction in honestly working through these questions. We should seek to sharpen their minds and strengthen their faith so they can embrace it as their own. Or to quote Timothy Keller, a faith without some doubts is like a human body without any antibodies in it. People too busy or indifferent to ask hard questions about why they believe as they do will find themselves defenseless against either the experience of tragedy or the probing questions of a smart skeptic. A person's faith can collapse overnight if she has failed over the years to listen patiently to her own doubts, which should only be discarded after long reflection. Now, apologetics happens in many different contexts, and our approach needs to be appropriate to the context. That means considering the person or persons we're trying to help and the cultural context of our relationship, be it in one-to-one conversation, at a Grill a Christian event, a Bible study group, a church service, in a lecture, a dialogue, or in a formal debate. Apologetics also happens through different media. And the early church obviously began with speaking to spread the gospel. Soon moved on to writing. We know that the early church used music. The New Testament quotes from many early hymns or creeds that were probably set to music to help people remember them. And the early church also used visual arts such as painting, later on sculpture, and so on. In modern times, Christians leapt at the opportunity to use radio to talk about the gospel, to make it persuasive to many people at one go. Think about the use of film or television and the online world. The televisual and online worlds have, in recent years, begun kind of merging together with the rise of streaming platforms and internet televisions. Now, you probably feel more comfortable in some of these contexts and media than others, and that's all right. In the words of apologist Greg Koukl, you should aim to develop the informed mind, attractive manner, and artful method appropriate to each apologetic context and media. A good place to start that project would be make sure you understand the Christian way of life, to approach apologetics with an attitude of loving, humble service, and to learn how the wise use of questions can help you understand other people and help you navigate spiritual conversations. Let's take those one at a time. In terms of understanding the Christian way of life, this means engaging in the spiritual discipline of study. Read, watch videos, listen to podcasts, discuss questions with thoughtful Christians. Of course, study the Bible and study Christian discipleship. Study philosophy and theology and science, and study the culture around you and how to faithfully respond to it. In terms of approaching apologetics with an attitude of loving, humble service, here are 3 books that very helpfully talk about the kind of dynamics of humility in Christian discipleship. In terms of learning about the wise use of questions, there's good material in Andy Bannister's book, how to talk about Jesus without looking like an idiot. And in Gregory Kukel's Tactics material, his book Tactics is now in its second edition. He also has video study guide material, plenty of video material also available of him giving lectures on this kind of use of questions in apologetics tactics material online in places like YouTube. So apologetics is a spiritual discipline of loving, humble service that uses responsible rhetoric to help people be persuaded that a God-centered way of life that integrates our assumptions, attitudes, and actions through faithfulness to Jesus as Lord is a rational, good, and beautiful choice to make. This holistic understanding of apologetics prepares us to help people who have questions about the moral goodness and or the beauty of the Christian way of life, as well as of its rationality. And it encourages Christians to be genuinely concerned with beauty and goodness, as well as truth and reason, having an artful method and an attractive manner, as well as an accurately informed mind. So as William Lane Craig says, apologetics plays a vital role in shaping culture, strengthening believers, and evangelizing unbelievers. Think back to the question we began with. What is apologetics good for? How would you respond now?